Now, a report was released this week issuing a warning of the mounting costs of small boats crossing and the risk of fuelling public resentment. The mid-estimate of hotel accommodation alone at $2.2 billion is 3.5 times the $630 million government invests to tackle homelessness in the UK.
The report offers 6 recommendations, including curbing the power of judicial interventions and introducing an annual cap on refugees.
I can think of no better person to discuss this report this morning than the author himself, Dr Rakib Ehsan. So, hello, great to have you here. I was interested in the bit in the report of the numbers of people coming over, and what we're not really taking into consideration is the upset on the ground here by some of those people who could be militant, those people who could be terrorists. It's a security issue that we're not really talking about.
No, absolutely, Esther. I've said for some time that the small boats emergency is a serious national security issue. This level of unauthorised migration, much of it including arrivals who cross into the UK via the English Channel undocumented, does pose a threat to public safety and national security. In terms of the numbers, over 2022, the total was 45,755 people crossing the English Channel and into the UK. And as we know, in terms of the demographic composition of those small boats migrants, 2 in 3 are males aged between 18 to 39 years. And I think that's a real problem, Esther, because I feel that our asylum system, what it should be doing, is prioritising women and girls at risk of sexual violence in their homelands and internal displacement camps. At the moment, our asylum system is being overrun by male-dominated, unauthorised migration on the English south coast.
Rakib, I think lots of people might be supportive in principle of putting a cap on the number of refugees in terms of making sure it's a number that we can accommodate and we can cope with. I guess the question is, how does that work in practice? Because all of these people are coming over the channel in a small boat. The government are desperately trying to kick them out of the country and are unable to do so. So you can have a cap, but if you can't remove the people that are coming in from the country when that cap's exceeded, it's not much point in having a cap, is there?
No, absolutely. And I think, as you mentioned, Philip, I make 6 main recommendations in the report, and they have to work together. You can't really have one recommendation in isolation without the other recommendations. So, for example, I talk about this really urgent that we pass legislation which curbs the impact of judicial interventions, both foreign and domestic, when it comes to the UK government's immigration and asylum policy, especially when it comes to removing illegal migrants from the UK. I think what we have at the moment, our asylum system is being undercut by people smuggling enterprises, and much of the decision-making control resides with judges, whether that's the European Court of Human Rights or our domestic court system. That needs to change. And I think after you do that, you may well facilitate flights to countries such as Rwanda. That may help to speed up the UK-Rwanda migration partnership. And I think then it will act as a deterrence. If there's not flights to Rwanda taking place, then there's no deterrence effect. And then after that, you have the introduction of an annual cap on refugees, which should be democratically determined by the UK Parliament, because I think we need more democratic accountability when it comes to our refugee policy. And under that cap, I'd like to see women and girls prioritised, especially those who are at major risk of sexual violence in their homelands.